I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm sorry. So once again, I welcome you all in Vibrant Gujarat Regional Conference. This program is organized by GSFC and GNFC, and we are very lucky to have Professor G.D. Yadav sir, Ganpati Yadav sir, Padma Shri, along with us. There are other speakers, Mr. Harsh Kumar, Director Technology, Engineering and Construction, KBR, Mr. Narendra, Director Technical Koshor Climate India Private Limited, Mr. Manan Shah from Karni, and Mr. Saurabh Yadav from BCS, um, Boston Consultant Group. So first of all, I will give you introduction of Professor G.D. Yadav. As such, he doesn't require any introduction. Whomsoever is in the field of engineering must be aware that he is a very much elegant personality in the field of chemical engineering. So, Professor G.D. Yadav is one of India's most accomplished and profile engineering scientists, widely celebrated for his path-breaking contributions to science, technology, innovation, and policy. He currently holds the prestigious Bhatnagar Fellowship, the highest honor of CSIR, and earlier served as National Science Chair for 3 years. He is Emeritus Professor of Eminence and at the Institute of Chemical Technology, ICT Mumbai, formerly known as UDCT Bombay, where he previously served as Vice Chancellor also. So he is recognized globally. Professor Yadav has received over 150 rare and prestigious awards. This is a significant amount to have 150 awards, including Padma Shri way back in year 2016. I think, sir, now you are heading for Padma Vibhushan. Uh, the India's fourth largest civilian honor, that is Padma Shri, across diverse fields such as green chemistry and engineering, net zero and sustainability, catalysts, chemical and energy engineering, biotechnology, process safety, and nanotechnology. So I think he has covered all the fields. Nothing is left out, and he is most befitting personality to provide knowledge to us in this session. He has also been honored by Rasayan Maharatna during the Centennial Jubilee year. I will say that ICC has bestowed him in September 2025, very recently, the KV Mariwala Award for Industry and Institute Linkage. That is, he has developed DME technology along with a collaboration with Godavari Biorefineries. His innovation has attracted interest from over 2 dozen companies, with 3 processes currently at pilot plant scale level. Uh, there are so many other things. I will say that he serves as communications director uh, of the Federation of Asian Chemical Societies, representing 31 countries. And he is elected follow all science and engineering academics of India. Among his many accolades are the Bharat Ratna, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Award for Science and Technology 2022, the Shastra CNR RN Rao Award 2024, and the Advantage India Chemical Conclave Award 2024. So there are list of various awards that you have seen it. Now I will say one of the major point that Professor Yadav holds 137 number of patents on his name and has consistently ranked in the top 2% of scientists globally in the so-called Stanford list, being number 1 in India and number 66 in worldwide in physical chemistry for the past 5 years. He plays a key role in shaping India's scientific and innovation policies, serving on 6 AICTE committees, that is National Hydrogen Infrastructure, which is a very recent and current topic, and served several DST committees. In 2024, he delivered keynote addresses at the National Science Day celebrations, where he was recognized for his leadership in green hydrogen technologies. So this is a green energy related topic, so it is very much relevant to us. He holds the post of Vice Chancellor of ICT, that UDCT, former UDCT, from year 2009 to 2019. He developed 2 companies, 23 academic programs, multiple centers of excellence, and 5 new departments, while securing about 1800 crores fund to promote these activities. So it is a huge fund. I think requires some explores from you. With 570 original research papers, 137 patents, 3 books, an H index of 72, I-10 index of 391, and over 21,000 citations, his research impact is profound. Recently, sir, I think you have also written book on Professor M. M. Sharma biography. Professor M. M. Sharma is considered as the Bhishma Pitama of our industry, doyen of our chemical industry. He is, I think, Patta Shishya of Professor M. M. Sharma, sir. Uh, and he currently, G.D. Yadav, sir, currently serves as President of Indian Chemical Society and Maharashtra Academy of Science and chairs several DST committees. He is Vice President elect of the Indian National Science Academy and INSA. So with this, I request Professor G.D. Yadav, sir, to have a lecture on this.
Yeah, but let me open
Sir,
this.
I request Nitin Patel, sir, Executive Director, GNFC, to welcome GD Yadav, sir.
Just 1 minute. Yeah. Yeah. What is that? What does it say? But I don't have it here. Okay.
Sir, thank you for coming. We are honored.
So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So the program has been delayed, but I want to give you some important message because this particular panel discussion is on carbon to crops, greener molecules, greener yields. So I will enter into something else, okay? Climate change is real, no matter what Donald Trump says. He says, drill, baby, drill, right? He wants to have more hydrocarbons so that America benefits, not the world. So this is, rain in Pune, Assam, Mumbai, at the same time your drought. So if you want to live in Pune and Mumbai, you must know swimming. That is a problem. And this is in Kerala. So it is across. I think you go and sit there. You will have fun. Go and sit there.
We turn students now.
Yeah, I know everybody is a student because you will enjoy it more actually. So look, we normally think Kerala gives a lot of rain, but there was drought too. You also go and sit there. I don't want to keep an eye on me. Go there. You should. All right. So you see, climate change. Look at this France, Triple River. Look at entire Europe. Everywhere there is climate change, whether you accept it or not. And this is in Canada, wildfires. Same thing happens in California. And these are advanced nations. If they cannot stop wildfire, how do we stop it in India? That means, again, technology. Climate change impact in India is very wide. Look at America, across the country. And there is one place in California called Death Valley. Temperature is always above 50 degrees Celsius. Nothing can grow there. But Americans are funny. They have a national park there. So you can imagine how much energy they will be requiring to keep you cool. And this is well known in India. We can't go to Delhi these days. Flights are always delayed, no matter where you are. I traveled last 2 days. I slept only for 2 hours because the flight was delayed. You never know. They put you in the plane and they say, okay, wait. And so 100 million metric tons of agri-waste out of 500 is burnt in India. So the farmers, and we are talking about, crop to molecules, right? So look at this slide. Just before pandemic, we had the CO2 concentration 410 ppm. And you know that on 10th of April 2020, crude oil price was negative. They had to pay to store that $10 per barrel. You imagine, you never imagined this. There were 7 fracking companies in Texas. All of them withdrew their investment. They said hydrocarbon industry is dead. Unless the crude oil price becomes $60 a barrel plus, it will not make any profit. And in May 2022, within a year, we had 412. That means 2 ppm we added. Although we are sitting at home, glued to the TV, watching Ramayana and Mahabharata, old serials, we had nothing to do. And this is the time when we had this work from home culture, which has been continued by many companies, particularly software companies. And in May 22, 418 ppm, economy was restored. So economy is correlated with carbon emissions, carbon dioxide emissions. And look at this number now. January 9, this year, 428.58. Last year it is 426. So almost 2.3 to 2.5 ppm carbon dioxide is added to the atmosphere every year. And if there is no technological intervention, we'll be dead and gone by 20 to 50. The concentration will be 2000 ppm, temperature will rise between 6 and 8 degrees Celsius. So we have to do something else. And last year, March, 430 on one particular day, that is 7th March. And the world refinery capacity, 825 refineries, almost 103.5 million barrels a day, right? So what is this carbon dioxide, including land use? 2020 it was 34.8 gigatons, that is billion tons. 2024 it was 37.4. So total maybe about 41.6 billion tons of carbon dioxide we are emitting as a whole, the world as a whole. That is too much. So what is the reason? The reason is because ours is a carbon-based economy. Oil and natural gas and coal, and now we talk to C2C, carbon, crude oil to chemicals, and we have also renewable carbon. So I wrote this paper during that pandemic. Whether it is a fossil carbon or renewable carbon, it goes into carbon dioxide. So that is responsible for global warming. And although we talk about net zero, whatever carbon we produce, it has to be consumed in some form, either CCUS technology, whatever. So carbon-based fuel is the real culprit of greenhouse gas emission. So we also hear a term called net zero and sustainability, right? So is it a solution? My answer is no. So we have 10 different approaches. Hydrogen technologies, now Kutch is inviting hydrogen here, green hydrogen. Carbon dioxide will be the new oil, so that will carbon negative we can think of. Decarbonization of economy, biomass valorization, including waste biomass, purposely grown grasses and whatnot. Solid waste management. We want to create a zero waste society. In Mumbai municipality, because I live in Mumbai, so the daily, waste, MSW, is 9,000 tons. Half of that is food waste. Half of that is food waste. Then we have waste plastic. That is about 10 to 12%. Then construction debris and whatnot. Then again, another problem is water resource management. I showed you pictures where something is drought and also at the same time there is heavy rain. But water management is going to be a big problem in future. And for hydrogen, green hydrogen, we require water, right? So concept of circular economy and recycle engineering, that is where real chemical engineering will be in future, okay? And biotechnology, certain processes will be a combination of chemical and biotechnology, and that is happening in pharma industries. And last but not the least, systems engineering approach. Now chemists are also calling systems chemistry. That means you have a boundary, only useful things go inside, useful things go outside. Whatever co-product or byproduct is recycled within the system, that is systems engineering approach. So, sometimes sadhus and boas, they talk about better, positive, think positive. I'm saying think negative. No, I'm joking. I'm thinking think of negative. That is carbon negative energy systems and material neutrality. That is what I'm saying. We don't have any other, way to do it. And so this is where the net negative energy systems and sustainability comes into picture. So I've done a lot of work in that area. So for example, in 2020, the emissions of CO2 were about 35 gigatons. Unless we bring it down to 10 gigatons, that means you have to take out from the atmosphere 25 that time. Now I'm saying 41.6 gigatons. So much of carbon dioxide have been taken out. So technology must be there, developed, where we capture carbon, whether it is a power plant or anything, where power plant you will have typically 15% carbon dioxide. So this is what it is. So I gave you these numbers. So this is what 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature for the end of this century, 2100. That means every year our carbon dioxide emission should not be more than 10 gigatons. And alas, there is a prediction by World Meteorological Organization that in 2027 we would have crossed this. Remember, anywhere in the world, whatever, supposing you are living in Rajkot and the average temperature is say 30 degrees, if it becomes 32 degrees, 80% of the biological species will die. That is the real danger. Okay? So what it means, the so-called net zero goal, we have to take carbon out of our atmosphere, fuel mix. So this is it is. Recycle engineering is going to be the theme of tomorrow. There will be nothing virgin available. We talked about, Prime Minister also said, he talked about, minerals. So yeah, right, but we will not have minerals. We'll have to use everything. And that example, best example is solar energy and wind energy, right? They have an average life of 25 years. Right now, 60 million metric tons of these used solar panels and wind turbines, the magnets, praseodymium, niobium, they are lying somewhere. So you want to have business, you should concentrate it. My personal belief is Bhangarwala will have the best days, right? Because he can sell anything, it will have value. So this is very important message. So green hydrogen and green ammonia industries will have great scope. And I mentioned to you about wind turbines, plastic. If we do not have that, and if we just believe in linear economy, we'll require 3 years. We have only one planet, right? So yes, so what is the message? Nothing is waste. You have to save. For example, these bottles are there in front of you. What will you do after you leave? It will be there. But suppose there was a deposit of 20 rupees, you will carry it with you. Refundable deposit. So government policy matters the most. Since I'm involved in government policy making committees, I've been saying that we have to have proper government policy which will encourage our industry to produce eco-friendly products and processes. That is what I've been saying. So this so-called 5R, first is refuse. Suppose you refuse that water bottle, you have saved carbon dioxide. Then repurpose, use it for something else. This term came from pharmaceutical industry because their drugs have been repurposed for some other disease. Viagra is one of them, or aspirin is one of them. Reduce, reuse, everybody knows. Reduce at source, repurpose. And recycle engineering, this is most important thing for us as technologists. We must have recycle engineering. So government policy matters, and we have to incentivize people to reduce waste and take value out of that. For example, there was a slide a little later, but I'll tell you what it is. Supposing you receive newspaper in the morning, right? The housewife will keep it aside. And why does she keep it up? Because it is valuable raddi, right? Waste paper. She will sprinkle water also to increase the weight. Correct? You are laughing, but that's a fact. Housewives do that. Why? Because they know that that paper has a value. But look at the pouch, the milk pouch. Modi ji talked about this guy, cows, right? Milk pouch, milk may be 60 rupees a liter. Suppose I say it is 20, 80 rupees a liter. You will think, oh, why should I pay 80 rupees? Somebody else giving me 60 rupees. But with a rider, you have a barcode, that bag is returned. Because what housewife does right now, even the drop of milk she will not leave. She will put more water, shake it 100 times, call the husband also to shake it because she thinks one drop is so valuable, but the plastic is not, she will throw it. But if there is a value attached to that plastic, she will keep it aside. I'm saying, like one boy comes to give the newspaper, another will come to collect the plastic. So we generate employment. And since there are barcode, UPI, right? The fellow will return your money. And he may charge you 5% because he's coming, he needs employment, right? That is what I meant by incentivization of so government policy and practical incentive, not, sometimes government says, what the government says, 50 micron plastic is allowed. Do you go with a major metering gauge? Is not, right? So that is not practical. Or sometimes they say ban, liquor ban. You know the state where maximum liquor is sold, where there is a ban, right? That means ban is not the solution. Better technology is the solution and better government policies. So in the systems engineering approach, we have this net negative, useful products only will go. So you have done calculations, material balance, energy balance. So whatever is a co-product or byproduct is recycled. So we can do this. For example, carbon dioxide, waste biomass, plastic, municipal solid waste. Okay, so we can use biomass for chemicals and materials. Same thing, nothing is waste. That is the policy. So now I come to your theme, carbon to crops. Third largest CO2 emitter, India. Most climate vulnerable, and we have seen that, right? Rising heat waves, erratic monsoons, crop failures, and every time farmers ask for compensation, right? So don't you think we should develop better crop varieties which are, heat resistant? Cycle has to be changed. So the solution must drive development. That is the purpose of this, vibrant Gujarat. So fixing carbon for agricultural productivity is one of the solutions. So we can have biological fixation, chemical roots, or soil sequestration. Carbon is required in the soil as a fertilizer, not in the atmosphere. We require carbon for our survival. Sometimes I ask these interesting questions. I said, net zero means there's no, so sometimes people think no carbon dioxide. If there is no carbon dioxide, we'll die, right? Carbon dioxide is there, it has to be there. So biological fixation, chemical roots, so we can have enhanced photosynthesis because photosynthesis is most, inefficient process. Can we do that? So CO2 to methanol fertilizers, and give you something else, and biochar. So that means pyrolysis of biomass, or pyrolysis of plastic even for that matter, and regenerative. So carbon dioxide derived fertilizers and biostimulants for transforming agriculture. So we have seen this erratic monsoon, crop yield, instability, and agriculture contributes about 18% of India's greenhouse gas emissions, agriculture. So we need something else. So as I told you that carbon is not a waste, it is a wealth. So we have to shift from carbon capture to carbon utilization technologies, right? Conversion into fertilizer intermediates, urea, methanol, and methanol is going to be our future feedstock. When there is no crude oil, which will happen by 2050, either the cost of crude oil is so high, $200 a barrel, or we have alternate technologies like biomass. So we can do that. And then, what is carbon dioxide fixation relevant to India? Biological fixation like enhanced photosynthesis, algae, microbes, we can do that. CO2 to methanol, I told you, soil carbon, and large advantage will be large biomass availability. India has a huge biomass availability, okay? So growing green hydrogen ecosystem. So I'm going to tell you how green hydrogen will help us in future. So India can lead the carbon to crop revolution. This is the theme of this panel discussion. And we said 2070 is our goal. Why not 2050 or why not 2030? It is like giving students, examination is postponed by 15 days. The 14 days they enjoy, and 15 days they will start reading the book. Why 2070? Europe and other countries, OECD countries says 2050. China says 2060. China contributes 25% of the carbon dioxide. USA 12%. Okay, European Union and all about 8%. Remaining is contributed by others, including India. And we almost, have our contribution is 2.688 gigatons per annum. So it has to come down. So yes, we have to have climate action, carbon fixation, and triple dividend. This is what I'm saying. So how do we do that? Technologically, we have to do that. We have to do this in India. So, like Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, our trinity is scientific is solar energy, wind energy, and hydrogen. And they said you will have 30 gigawatt solar energy in Kutch region. That's very good. India has planned 500 gigawatt renewable energy by 2030. Why not 700? Having low aim is a crime, according to me. Main technology will be developed faster. And in this, hydrogen is my prime devas. Devas is a Sanskrit word meaning deity. Okay? Because solar and wind do not give me rather, products. But hydrogen will give. So hydrogen will be the savior of the world. And look at the energy scenario of the world. By 2050, 73% will be renewable. Okay, and still we will be using coal. We may use hydro, wind, solar, all those things, but coal will be still used in 2050. So we require clean coal technologies. We can convert coal into anything, maybe syngas, for example, and use Fischer-Tropsch synthesis. We can do many things. So my advice to the government is 20% of this. That is 10,000 terawatt hours out of the 49,000 terawatt hours. India should produce, and we should export it. We should be energy exporting country rather than being squeezed by these powers in the West, right? And so So what we did in ICT, we did some integrated technology, complete solution. So one is carbon dioxide into methane and higher hydrocarbons. So this is ONGC is my partner in that. So it can be commercialized. Right now we're doing pilot experiments, and so expression of interest from 3 companies. Then carbon dioxide into dimethyl ether. Dimethyl ether is a very good substitute for LPG and diesel. So we can do that, right? That is a better solution. But remember how government policy kills good ideas. In 1995, Indian Oil was supposed to make dimethyl ether, and that was going to be done by dehydration of methanol. I'm talking about directly carbon dioxide into dimethyl ether. We have developed this technology. And Godavari Biorefinery is partnering with me because they have about 450 tons per day of carbon dioxide from their fermented. So we inaugurated this pilot plant very recently on 10th of November. So we can see this is at Nashik. Then carbon dioxide into methanol. We have developed very nice catalysts. Even, 3,000 hours, nothing happens to that. So we are developing this now. 5 tons per day plant we are going to build. So this is another area. So our, Niti Aayog talks about methanol economy. So when there is no crude oil, methanol will be a feedstock for all chemical industry. We can produce anything for primary, secondary, tertiary, whatever. Same is the case with dimethyl ether. I wrote papers on this, in journals. So once you have methanol, you see how many things we can produce on the right-hand side. So many things: formaldehyde, acetic acid, monomethyl acrylate, MTBE, DME, gasoline. MTO, biodiesel, and whatnot. Okay? Or the so-called biomethanol or e-methanol can be produced once we have this. And chemists can have fun. We can produce many things, you know, which is carbonates and carbamates and whatnot. But very interestingly, carbon dioxide refinery means there are these 6 different processes by which I can valorize carbon dioxide. I can convert carbon dioxide into ethylene also. For instance, ethylene will become feedstock for refineries. 11 major chemicals and 19 minor specialty chemicals can be produced from carbon dioxide. So that is the beauty of that. Okay, so once you can make urea, you can make polycarbonates, DME, aldehydes, salicylic acid, which is little small, not big, also significantly. So at the same time, since we are talking about farmers, how farmers will benefit. Okay, so farmers' income can be multiplied by hydrogenation or hydrogenolysis of biomass waste. So what needs to be done? There is an idea, that is, you have farmers' cooperative waste, agri-waste factories, kachra factories, where farmers collect this bulky mass, compact it, densify it, make pellets. That pellet is about 6 rupees a kilo. You can give them incentive, maybe 10 rupees, so they will collect all this kachra, compact it, and then we can do the biorefineries out of that. We can produce variety of chemicals. So then there will not be any pollution and so-called problem in Delhi and around. So this is one of the ways to do it. And so we can have integrated biorefinery. So cellulose, lignin, hemicellulose, you see how many things are there on the right-hand side. These are technologies. They may not be as cheap as the petroleum-based, crude-based, but these are the solutions. Some of them are futuristic, but yes, we can do that. And so remember, these precursors for different chemicals, cellulose, hemicellulose, lignin, you see, these are oxygen-containing compounds or hydroxyl groups containing 14 different methods, which are all catalytic, including biocatalytic. And look at this lignin. Now what are they doing? Lignin they are burning to generate electricity, cogen. But that's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. So yes, we can, and from cellulose, hemicellulose, we can make, so we wrote this very interesting paper that look at the top side, C5, C6 sugars, okay, oxidation, hydrogenation, hydrogenolysis, dehydration, and bottom, oxidation, hydrogenation. That means these are the processes which are going to be important from waste biomass. Whatever farmers are producing, we can make that as a feedstock. And so, in other words, hydrogen and oxygen are the important precursors for biomass valorization. All right. So, furan chemistry, another important thing. Once your furan will be like a feedstock, like benzene, toluene, solvent. Many things we can produce from furan. We wrote this article in Industrial Engineering Chemistry. Yes. So this particular slide gives you what we did in ICT. We use solar power, have molten salt, which we have patented, and then that is used because solar energy is not available 24/7, right? So take 9 kilo of water, get 1 kilo of hydrogen and 8 kilo of oxygen. And we can use it to make, for example, methane, ethane, alkanes, LPG. We can go to sustainable aviation fluid, ASAF. Yes, and so this is what, so we can make, for example, so when you have this thing, we can make from carbon dioxide, how many things which I already did, carbon monoxide, format, syngas, methane, methanol, ethanol, acetates, all sorts of things I can make that. That means these are expensive technologies right now, vis-a-vis the crude oil base, but this is the future that we should do that. So, plastic, I told you, waste plastic. Government, whenever government has a problem, they ban it, which is a bad idea. Banning is not a solution. Banning means, giving incentive to police and municipal authorities to make extra, illicit money. Correct? When you ban something, people will say, why not? Okay? So here we can have hydrothermal processing, like chemolysis, pyrolysis, gasification. These can be done for plastic recycling. So I wrote an article there. Anything we take, PhD, some of my PhD students are working on that. We have published, we have patented, glycolysis, hydrolysis, aminolysis, phosphorylasis, hydrochlorination, pyrolysis, all sorts of things can be done with plastic. Okay? But very important thing is that you can use hydrogen. Why we do that? Because with hydrogen, with others, you have to segregate the plastic, which takes 80% of the cost. In hydrogenolysis, you don't have to segregate. You can use the entire thing as such. So we can have all these things. So, very recently, but last May, I was in Stockholm. I was invited as an expert, and we talked about natural biomass, waste residue, carbon dioxide, green manufacturing, sustainable polymers, everything we talked about. And then we said this should be chemistry for the future, not chemistry of the future. And so we had this declaration, Stockholm Declaration. Now it is adopted by everybody. I was the second signatory on this. Here you can see that Paul Anastas was the first, and there were 30 people, including Nobel laureates, Ben Faringa. So we had a very good time, and we said that sustainable chemistry of the future, we must propagate these ideas across the world in different universities, colleges, and in the authorities. So finally, what is green economy? You have so-called bioeconomy, means biomass-based economy, okay, production of biomass. Then biomass economy, whether you have food or feed, textiles, apparels, biorefineries, or so on. And on the other hand, green hydrogen, carbon dioxide, which I should net negative, and waste plastic, and we have to incentivize, so-called circular economy. All these things is so-called green economy. When politicians or other talk about green energy, green economy, this is what is meant by that. So ladies and gentlemen, so what is Gujarat's opportunity? 8% of India's CO2 come from Gujarat. 50 plus million tons of organic waste per year, and more than 32% largest chemical hub. Gujarat is literally the, chemical hub of the entire country and represents, so whatever laws internationally adopted, first Gujarat is affected. Okay? So Gujarat, abundant CO2, rich agri-mass, strong chemical industry. So Gujarat as a carbon to chemicals and agro-innovation hub. So this is the time we should talk about it. And in Sanskrit, it is very nicely said, Prakriti santulanasya moolam asti. Nature is the foundation of balance. So we have to look at nature and modify processes so that it becomes eco-friendly. So ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for giving me this opportunity. This is the beginning of the panel, right? Yes, sir. I was told to give a lecture so that people are appreciating whatever somebody uses some unknown terminologies, people will be familiar. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Now you can come.
Thank you very much, sir, for providing very lucid presentation containing lot of data and details. You provided vision for the new trends and what policies government should adopt to have better control over CO2 emission. Sir, there is a sir energy.
You are going to ask, who is going to ask questions? You are going to ask?
No, this.
People will ask.
Yes.
What is the format? I am supposed to.
Sir, there is a 10-minute slot for
Each person to make.
Each
okay, so
person
let
to
them
speak.
At,
And then you steer the panel.
I tell you, 10 minutes, will be too long.
Okay,
Okay, so one at a time, maybe 2-3 minutes. Then we go to the next panelist, and then will be a dialogue. They can interject in between.
They have few slides.
It is not Arnab debate, this is our debate.
शुरू कर
People
दिया
are
ना
given chance to talk, and then you will ask questions. Am I right? That is the format.
सागर
Yes.
सागर आने जगह पे करिए अपन कनेक्ट करिए अपन
Everybody has presentation?
Yeah.
So, okay, go ahead.
We start with Manan. Please, go ahead. And try to finish in 7 to 10 minutes with your permission.
No, my permission is granted. Just to know. Thank you.
I invite Mr. Yakesh Prajapati to give flower bouquet to Mr. Manan. you will have to do it.
We should go and sit there.
Yeah, yeah, why not? Please.
You introduce.
I hope I'm audible. Well, thank you. Um, Thank you, Professor, for really setting up the context and bringing the curiosity in us. As I told you, we almost became students for the last 15, 20 minutes. And also sort of laying the tone for the discussion and the agenda. Quick introduction, my name is Manan Shah. I'm a partner with Etikani. We are a global management consulting firm. I also work closely with what we call is an intersection of business, sustainability, environment, decarbonization, and to some extent business transformation and growth, right? Now, having been in this field, I've looked at this sector very closely, and respectfully, sir, a lot of views that you share, I resonate the same with a little bit of a twist and a different sort of point of view. So, would like to sort of express that as well. Very quickly, I think, sir, you laid the foundation for what's happening globally, right? I mean, to say the least, the world has taken a complete U-turn on sustainability. What we saw in the last 4 or 5 years, COVID, post-COVID, there was a diaspora of global leaders coming out and saying we need to really get world to net zero. Everything is a U-turn right now, and the reason I'm saying that is because think about how companies and globally people are doing it, right? 2050, Europe is saying, you know what, we can all achieve 2050 net zero because, by the way, they are the most expensive energy guzzlers of the world. So it makes sense for them to do that, right? Look at America. America is not really saying that. America is actually gone the way and said, drill, baby, drill. But even if when Trump was not there, before Trump also, it never came out openly and said, we will be the pioneer of net zero for the world because they understand that their economy is also dependent on that, right? So everyone is doing very measured steps. Middle East, as you all know, they are saying we will do net zero sustainability only to the extent it helps us. But we are not going to stop oil. We are not going to stop gas, right? Because that's detrimental to our economy. In that context, India's net zero path and the reason it is 2070, and I respectfully agree to that, it cannot be 2050, is because we are still dependent on energy security. At the end of the day, petrol prices touching 92 and 95 will be a political issue. So you and I cannot afford to also make sure that we sign the button on energy security, at the same time say we are on net zero, right? So it's a very calibrated pathway to say by 2070, hopefully we will touch the net zero magic figure, which will also show the proof that by that time, if global countries are touching there, then we will also sign that petition, right? And we are hitting it. So it's, in my sense, it's a rational move. For a country which is growing on energy. By the way, most of the first three countries have already reached peak oil. So they are on the detrimental path right now, and they can afford to say that. Now, with that context, how does it place us as a country in terms of our net zero pathway? When we modeled a net zero pathway for India, what you see are basically what we call it as the Charnamrut, or we can call it as levers that can help us get to net zero. We talked about RE related businesses, and everyone knows today, you know, RE, renewable energy is mature, it's a competitive landscape, there is no economics business case needed for it, right? So it's maturing. But what about the others? So green hydrogen, we spoke about storage, battery as a service, but even pump storage, mobility, you know, mandates, these are yet to evolve. And what we believe is it's towards the end of this decade, 2030 is when you will start seeing maturity of these technologies. This doesn't mean the technology is not there. This means that it's not economically possible to scale it at a world scale level. And that's where the dilemma is, right? It's not a dilemma of whether, why are we not scaling it? The dilemma is where is the money? Where is the economics for that? And to make it worse, you know, our global funding in terms of green funds, green bonds itself is very limited. In fact, we don't have a lot of channel for that. So what should we do then? It doesn't mean that we are going to sort of sit back and say, okay, let the world evolve. In my mind, and since the topic is around crops, I would want to touch upon two key areas. One, of course, green hydrogen, and the second is around carbon capture utility. We have done and run numbers in terms of what economics make sense and don't make sense. Very briefly, we think carbon capture, for example, is a 10-year game. It is not going to be economical or viable before 2035. In whichever situation, either utilization or sequestration storage. And we can talk a bit more about it. Biogas, interestingly, is becoming very, very mature. In fact, some of the tenders we have seen and business cases we have set up have already touched that scale, right? So then, when we look at crop and carbon to crops, green hydrogen is a topic I want to talk about, because prima facie, if I look at the net zero pathway of any fertilizer company or crop agri company, almost 50% plus emissions can be abated through green hydrogen as a lever, right? And sort of that's where we are. Now, India's green hydrogen story is going to be very, very unique. And the reason I'm saying that is because at the moment we are one of the top two global major economies who are cost competitive on green hydrogen manufacturing globally, right? Interestingly, a lot of European countries, the Far East, Japan, Singapore, Korea, etc., are already buying green ammonia, right, as we speak. And our cost of production is actually below par. So what it means is, over the next 5-6 years, there is this whole train wagon of exports on green hydrogen. Sir, you touched upon it, but exports of green ammonia, which can be a very viable business proposition, and that's where I think a lot of money is going to get into. Wave 2, as we call it, post 2027, which is the next 2 years or so, we will start seeing adoption. We'll start seeing adoption by CNI players. We'll also see some mandates kick in. Already the green hydrogen policy is there. States are coming up with green hydrogen policies, and some of the bids which have opened in the last 2 months, I'm very, very encouraged by that. I'll talk a bit about it. And finally, it's only around post 2030 is when you will really see the domestic consumption of green hydrogen or green ammonia pick up, right? That's basically where the trajectory is going to be. And it's unlikely that you will see that this is going to prepone the way things are going, the way even renewables are sort of going to pick up. Now, in the interest of time, why is this economics important? The reason it's important, because at the end of the day, for a company and as an advisor to a company, I would always want to see what happens to gray hydrogen or gray ammonia, and where does it competitive cost benchmarking lie. What we see is today around $5 per kg is the kind of cost of green. It will come down in a matter of 10 years, and therefore it's a decade away, below a $3 kind of a number, right? And it's important to have a $3 kind of a number for cost of production of green ammonia or hydrogen for that matter, because you don't want to depend on market prices of gas. So today, for example, with high gas prices, a $5 or a $4 is actually quite sufficient enough for us to switch to green hydrogen or green ammonia. But it will no longer be the case if gases tomorrow come down, the prices of gases come down. So a sustainable long-term solution is always to look at how can it come down to a $3. We think it can come down. We've done our math, and it can come down from three, four ways. One, the cost of RE power is increasingly going down. We have opened the bids recently. There was, SECI had launched this bid last year where 4 or 5 of them have come at around 50-60 rupees a kg, which is not bad to begin with, right? At the place that we are, which is also very encouraging, because this is the first of its kind pilot or semi-pilot kind of a scale of operations, and we are already seeing this kind of numbers being hit. So we are very confident that this is going to happen. Interestingly, from the bids that have opened, it's very interesting that some of these bids are actually more competitive than the cost itself, right? So people are also hopeful that in future we'll figure out a way to get the cost down. So where does this bring us, right? I mean, in terms of Gujarat as a state, and very, very few states have this unique advantage, right? I think Sir talked about it, but port infrastructure is going to be critical. And the reason I'm saying that is because in the next 5 years, export is going to be where money is going to be made. Very few states can boast to have the kind of port infrastructure that Gujarat has. Second, the demand base is ready from a domestic CNI standpoint. You have, of course, fertilizers, but you also have refineries in Gujarat. You also have cement companies in Gujarat. And these are also big carbon emitters who need green ammonia or green hydrogen as they move to net zero. In terms of diversification, yes, it opens up an opportunity for companies in chemicals, in fertilizers and beyond to get into fuel. to get into green chemistry, to get into sustainability, to get into energy storage, to get into CCU. It's a whole plethora of sort of, game here. And on top of it, thankfully so, before this seminar, last month, Gujarat came out with a 2025 green hydrogen policy, which very timely addresses some of the concerns laid down by investors, by businesses, as well as by technology. In the spirit of promoting it even more, we do think that there is a bit more that we can do around this. And what we propose is a sort of a hub structure, because if we are looking at really the green hydrogen as an economy for Gujarat, the only way to do it is to start with a hub culture, which is you will have to identify proactively Gujarat-based hubs which will become green hydrogen. We have one or two in the pipeline as we speak right now, but this will not serve the purpose. This platform approach is basically saying, government or a body makes a platform where, as a technology, you can come and say, I want to partner. Investors can come and say, I want to park a vehicle here through a special purpose vehicle. I want to take an equity here. You can have buy and sell arrangements done. So it's a platform approach where you proactively look at developing this whole green economy. This has been done, but if we are able to do this, I think Gujarat will lead India in developing this kind of an economy, which is not just oriented towards domestic consumption, but also exports. Within that, if I go back to carbon to crops kind of a topic, I think the important part is still the consumption of this green ammonia is going to be limited when it comes to fertilizer as a business. But what is advantageous is if you are able to develop policies around mandates, waivers, subsidies, and have also demand allocated to these sectors where there are mandates given in terms of price parity, I think that can make sense. And we have done some numbers in terms of saying, is this a business model possible, right? Now, for a developing country like India, where interest rates are high, it is not possible. So we will, of course, need to have some sort of foreign fund coming in and investing. And for that to be lucrative, we'll have to form this kind of a nexus, form this kind of a body, which is capable of doing it. I want to leave you guys with this in the interest of time. I think if there's a call to be taken on action, I would put platformization and hub as the vision. While the policy is out, the policy also is open for anybody under the sun to come and invest, which is good. But I think the next step would be to really think of hubs and platform that you want to create for people to come in and invest or so consume. As a consumer, what can I do? Second, additional tax waivers on some of these projects. So use of ALMMs, WLMMs, waiver on GST for battery because we need intermittency for hydrogen, and a capital sort of subsidy bracket of 30% vis-a-vis 20% that we proposed today, which is also good, by the way. Demand catalyst, absolutely. Fertilizers will make that sense. More importantly, because they might also become the backbone of carbon capture and utilization for green urea in future, which is a unique advantage that we have. And finally, in terms of enablers, this will need interministerial coordination, right? This is not only an energy or a power and utility or an oil and gas or a chemicals ministry doing it, because as you see, this is a very complex topic. So if you are able to develop what we call as an apex body which is able to coordinate across these ministries, make that one single window for developing a green hub through a platformized approach, I think that is going to be the way to go, and we are not behind in terms of where we are. It's just taking it the step forward. So with that, I just wanted to sort of leave you with that thought. Happy to talk about and discuss about any one of these, some of these that you've covered, but any one of these levers that will bring India to net zero and how it can help on carbon to crops. Thank you.
We welcome Dr. Hasmukh Bhatia, sir.
Thank you very much, Manan, for providing a lot of information on green hydrogen, futuristic value and policies related to green hydrogen. Now I would like to invite Mr. Harsh Kumar, Technology, Engineering and Construction, KBR. Sir, I would like to invite Mr. H.V. Shah, of Vice President Operations of GSFC to give flower bouquet to Harsh Kumar. Please. Sir, please. Yes, please. On this way. You have to connect to my.
Panel Chair, Professor G.D. Yadav, other dignitaries on the panel, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And I would like to thank Professor G.D. Yadav for setting up the tone of this session and opening our eyes what lies in the future. I'll just give my brief introduction. I'm Harsh Kumar and I'm leading ammonia and syngas team at KBR India office. And in this presentation, I'll just try to describe how ammonia is going to change the landscape of fuel in future. Since we started, as a mankind started manufacturing ammonia, let's say 100 years back, the tendency is to keep on increasing the capacity of ammonia plants every day. So now we are having a plant of 6,000 metric tons per day as well. Basically, it is a gray ammonia plant. But unfortunately, ammonia is one of the sectors where it generates maximum CO2. And as a green ammonia producer, everybody is trying to find out a way where minimum investment can give you the maximum output. Since this is a new sector, government subsidies are not there, though government is trying to give more subsidies. But still industry is not coming forward to have more green ammonia plants. In past 5 years, we have given almost 20 basic engineering packages to various industries, but we have not seen most of them going forward because FIDs are not getting done. So why FIDs? There is no off-takers, no off-take agreements, government subsidies are not coming, though there has been a lot of talk, but it's not getting implemented. So let's see. So here I have just tried to find out whether it is really necessary to have a large ammonia plant, a green ammonia plant, to invest much more money, or we can start with a small ammonia as well. So agenda will be future of green ammonia technology, the challenges, fertilizer needs for the regional areas, and the conclusion. So this is what I have mentioned. We have almost done around 16 projects in 12 countries, but none of them are really moving ahead, except two. So one is 4 metric tons per day in Japan, and fortunately for us, that plant started production yesterday only. It's great for us actually. And another one is 300 metric tons per day, which is again on a KBR technology. It is right now under construction in Oman by an Indian company based in Gurgaon, which is Acme Solar. The biggest challenge, if you see in ammonia industry, is the power variability. If you see the red line on the graph, it is wind power. It represents the wind power. This is basically for a particular time period, let's say for 10 or 15 days. The red line shows the wind power variability. The orange dotted line shows the solar power availability, and the green is the combined power. Now, for any ammonia plant operator, this is a nightmare. You cannot keep on varying the power, and you keep on varying the ammonia plant or any process plant for that matter. So how to handle this? Most of the problems which when we interact with the industry, we find that they are not ready to handle this kind of variability, because it's not going to sustain the productions. So what we have come up with a solution. Basically, this is AI based solution where we have developed an integrated control system. This system, what it will do, it will take the past weather conditions into consideration. It will take the future weather prediction into consideration, and this intelligently will decide where the power should go based on the future 8 hours, 12 hours or 24 hours of prediction. The power can go to either ammonia production or can go to hydrogen storage for future ammonia production, or it can be traded as the power itself, or it can go to a battery storage. Now, so that means process has to run at a minimum of certain load. We have found that we can run the plant at 10% load, but to sustain that 10%, we still need some power, some hydrogen, some other utilities. So that is why this intelligent system will actually decide based on the power availability in next few hours how this hydrogen has to be, or power has to be distributed. I'll just skip this slide. If we go to this slide, the green is again showing the total power availability. It is again fluctuating. The brown curve basically is showing the average power availability, and the red is the power traded. So when there is lower availability, the export to the grid will reduce, but it will try to maintain the power to ammonia and stable conditions. So if you see this is the ammonia production levels. Even if the power is varying from 100% availability to 10% availability, ammonia plant production is fairly stable, except during the end of the curve where actually power has gone too low to sustain the load above 50%, so it has come down to 10%, but again it has gone up. So what is the right configuration actually? We have done a study for two capacities. Basically, if you see here, the two configurations are basically for 560 tons of ammonia plant per day and 1180 tons per day. If you see, for the given power, maximum power availability, the possible ammonia plant capacity was supposed to be around 1200 tons. But if we go for 1180 or 1200 tons per day capacity plant, then my plant utilization will be only 55%. Whereas if I go for 560 tons per day plant, based on the overall profile, the plant utilization factor will be around 79%. And if we go to this slide, the LCOA, which is basically the parameter for any plant operator to finalize the cost. So LCOA is better in a small plant. So it's not that always higher capacity plant is going to be beneficial. It is the power availability, and we need to do the study for that area, that plant, to find out the best suitable capacity. So this green ammonia can be further utilized to produce green fertilizers, nitric acid, then ammonium nitrate, then UAN, and similarly, if you start capturing the CO2 from the stacks of some of the nearby industries, you can also produce so-called green ammonia. So your ammonia is already green based on the solar power. You capture the CO2 from the stacks. Although this at this point, this is not going to be the energy efficient or most energy efficient process, but this is the way forward. Maybe in coming days when, as my earlier panelist is saying, when hydrogen cost and energy cost is going to come down, this is going to become reliable.
Actually, you mean green urea.
Yes, green urea, correct. And just one point I remember now. In India, one of the very first ammonia plant was actually complete green ammonia plant. It was in Nangal, early 60s. It was a hydroelectric power plant, Bhakra Nangal based ammonia plant. Then as power prices start going up, we entered into gasification of heavy oils, then into LNG reforming, and now we are going back to the same green sector. So as Mr. Manan mentioned, we need lot of government support. We have another example which we were talking to almost more than 20 industries in India for production of green ammonia. But right now, only 2 are in actually going ahead. So all the 18 are still waiting for government policies to become more clearer. But if we keep on delaying these things, picture will become more dirtier. And with that, I'll just end my thought. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Harshji. GSFC is a big producer of renewable energy, as you must be aware. We produce 152, we have installed capacity of 152 megawatt windmill power and 62 megawatt of solar power. And we are among those 18 companies which you referred who could not pursue further having green ammonia. Anyway, we'll look into it, and I assured you that Gujarat is willing, or rather I say more inclined towards having green ammonia, and it is having GSFC, GNFC, IFCO, CRIPCO, all ammonia based plants. Now I request Mr. Narendra of Director Technical Kosor Climate India Private Limited to deliver lecture, and Mr. Ayan Desai, Marketing Manager, GNFC, will welcome him through flower bouquet.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you for Vibrant Gujarat team for inviting me for this conference, and it is privilege, sitting along with GD Jadhav sir. So I know it's very late. It's already we are crossing time, and one more presentation is there. After that, question and answer session is there. I'll try to quickly go through the presentation, and maybe if any questions are there, maybe we can take it up in the question and answer session. So myself, Narendra, I'm from Kosher Climate. We are basically a carbon consultant and traders. So who are not aware of carbon, what is carbon credit, what is carbon consulting, maybe I'll just briefly tell the next slides. In earlier other presentations, you might have seen different technologies, particularly in the industrial sector, how the carbon emissions can be reduced as sequestrate. So I'm going to talk about the agriculture sector, specifically how farmer can help in reducing the carbon. and how they can benefit out of the carbon credits. So the context, why this is, agriculture sector is important, because agriculture is one of the major GHG contributor, but it is not only because of that, it also have a high potential for the carbon sink. Whereas in other sector, it is very difficult without any any big technologies like a carbon capture and storage. There is no storage sequestration is not possible. But in agriculture and forestry sector, the sequestration is possible. So it's not only we have just a potential to reduce the emission, but also it can sequester the emission that is emitting from the other sector. So that is why it is very important, and you can see in Gujarat, it's almost 61% of the total land area is the agricultural land, which is almost 10 million hectare. And from agriculture, forestry and land use sector only, almost it contributes 15 million tons of CO2 equivalent emissions. But why there are challenges? Because in India, the farms are like not a very big farms like Brazil and all. If you see, it's all everybody have 100-hectare farm areas and all. But here, landholding capacity is very small. You can see average landholding capacity of Indian farmer is less than 1 hectare. So when we need to work with the farmers, like we cannot go with a single project. We have to work with thousands of farmers to get a decent carbon credit project. So that is why there is a challenges, but of course we have to overcome with the carbon finance opportunities. First, I'll explain what is carbon credits. So any carbon dioxide emission or in terms of any greenhouse gas emission, a reduction or sequestration, 1 ton of carbon dioxide equivalent is 1 ton of 1 carbon credit. So maybe even the methane is another greenhouse gas, N2O is another greenhouse gas. Everything can be converted into carbon dioxide. Like, for example, methane is 28 times harmer than carbon dioxide. So you reduce 1 ton of methane, you get 28 carbon credits. So similarly, nitrous oxide, different greenhouse gases are there. So when you reduce 1 ton of carbon dioxide equivalent, or you are sequestering it in any form, then you will get a 1 carbon credits. This is a kind of a commodity. You get it certified, and it's kind of a commodity, can be traded in voluntary or compliance market. Who will purchase it? Anybody who has a voluntary target or any compliance target to reduce their carbon emission within their boundary, and they cannot reduce it. They can purchase the carbon credits and offset their emission. So these are some of the standards, international standards like a VCS gold standard, GCC. These are some international standards. They certify carbon credit projects, and the CCT is the recent Indian standard. It's like just starting. The registry are not yet live. Maybe a couple of months, we can see this. The CCT has become operational. So these every mechanism, these standards have their own procedures to certify the carbon credit. So whenever our project, we develop any projects, we go with any of the standard, and whatever the standard it asks, the requirements, we fulfill the requirements and get the carbon, get it certified, and any particular period you go for a verification and you get the carbon credits, how much the particular period, how it is the actual emission reduction occurred. So that we help in certifying under this mechanism, and we generate carbon credits and we sell it in the international market. So mostly the carbon credits are as of now more than 90-95% purchased outside India only, particularly in Europe. And some part in US and Australia and Japan, but it's mostly traded outside only. But India, under CCTS, Indian government is trying to develop our own carbon development market, carbon market by giving targets to the industries. Hopefully, in coming days, this will be another big carbon market. So there, I've listed out some of the potential project to get the carbon credits. These are just indicative list only. Maybe the current technologies available. It is very easy to get the carbon credits. There might be new technologies coming up, and that will be more effective than this in the future. Then when the new methodologies get developed and every mechanism get adopted, that will be coming. But these are the current scenarios. These are the some of the familiar potential projects. So one is agroforestry and tree plantation. So in agricultural field, you can develop, you can plant the trees. The trees absorb the carbon dioxide. So that for that you can get a carbon credit. Another is a regenerative agriculture. So regenerative agriculture, there are a lot of activities you can do for like, increasing the organic inputs to the soil and zero tillage, cover crops. These are the some of the activities that increases the soil organic carbon, or just it reduces the losses from the soil evaporation, the carbon from the soil evaporation. So this is another type of carbon sequestration projects from the agriculture sector. And reduce fertilizer application. It is not the sequestration, it's avoidance, like when we use chemical-based fertilizer, particularly nitrogen-based fertilizer, urea and other fertilizer, that there will be a nitrous oxide emission. So when you reduce these kind of fertilizer, then we are eligible to get a carbon credit. And methane avoidance, rice cultivation. So India is one of the highest rice producer, and the rice fields, because of the all flooded conditions, always create a lot of generate a lot of methane. There are different practices, cultivation practices. One is alternate wetting and drying, SRI rice cultivation. There are different rice cultivation practices that reduces the methane. So one is alternate wetting, is like when you're continuously, instead of continuously flooding the rice fields, just in between 1 or 2 times you dry the field, not completely, maybe up to some 10 centimeter below the ground level, you dry it and again irrigate it. So that considerably reduce the methane emission. Even we have done one project in Telangana, and we are doing projects in West Bengal. So the Telangana project is the first project in India to get the carbon credits for the rice methane projects, and we'll be coming up with other projects in different states. So that is one, and there is a biochar production. Biochar is it can be like biochar is produced from the agriculture waste by pyrolysis. So that, the agriculture, there are a lot of problem because of the agriculture waste, because we don't know how to dispose the agriculture waste. This could be one potential solution. It's not only gives a solution for the disposal, but also it increases the soil organic carbon, and it acts as a CO2 capture. But there are a lot of barriers. I'll explain. Based on our experience, we have done various projects in India. Rice methane avoidance project. We are doing SOC improvement projects. We are also doing agriculture, agroforestry projects. So with our experience, I listed out what are the barriers, the current barriers. One is the implementation complexities. As I said, the land holding capacity in India is very less, less than 1 hectare. So when we have to work with when we have to develop a project, we need to work with thousands of farmers. So where it is very difficult to convince the farmer and tell them, about, explain them about the carbon credits that will come after a few years. So that will be difficult, but we normally work with the local partners, NGO partners, FPOs, women self-help group who are familiar working in the particular area. So we train them, and with them, then they further train the farmers. Then we do the capacity building like that we are working. So that is one, and high transaction cost. So it's not only the implementation, because the implementation involves cost, the farmer has to incur, or any company who's taking care of the project as a whole have to invest the project. Other than that, in the certification cost also it is high, because the registration cost we need to pay for the registration. There are different stakeholders are there. The consultant is there, auditors are there, the boards are there. So for everyone we need to pay, and it is like a recurring, for every monitoring we need to pay to all the parties to get the carbon credits. So that involves high transaction costs, but of course getting some forward funding or any private investors, we can overcome this barrier. Another is the awareness and capacity gaps. As I said, the farmers mostly they are not aware of these technologies. We need to do a lot of capacity buildings to make them aware and do the project. Land tenure issues that sometimes the carbon credits registration procedure is a little complicated. We need to prove so many things. One such thing is the land rights. So whomever is the farmer who has the land rights can get the carbon credit. So in India, it's a bit difficult. Some land documents are in some relative names, father names, brother's name. So when we go for a project, collectively, when we verify each and every document, it is very difficult to prove the land tenure. So with a lot of capacity building, wherever is the gap, we sign any agreement between actual owner and the actual farmer. So with that, we can overcome this issue. Another is the lengthy timeline. This is one major issue, particularly in carbon development, in agriculture, and even the forestry sectors. Other sectors, it is a little quicker, but even compared to other sectors, the agriculture and forestry, it involves a lot of data. So first the consultant has to process the data, and the auditor has to process the data, and it goes to the board. The board has to process the data. So because of that, it takes a lot of time to generate the carbon credits. So first, the registration itself takes at least 1 year, sometimes even more than 1 year. And every time when we go for a verification, it takes minimum 7-8 months to 1 year. It depends on the complexity of the projects. And farmer, normally how we work, since the farmer is doing the project, farmer have the ownership of the carbon credits. But normally somebody else is investing, there will be always a share to the farmer. So we sign a farmer agreement before starting the project, say this much percentage, the carbon revenue, we will get it. But farmers start thinking after some, like a few months or 1 year, they start asking for the revenue, when you will give the revenue, all those things, because they don't understand the lengthy process. So we need to convince the farmer each and every time. There's a lengthy process. It takes some time to get the carbon credits, and then we need to sell the carbon credits and generate the carbon revenue. And then only we can distribute. So that is a bit difficult because of the lengthy timeline. Keeping the farmers within the project is very difficult.
Narendra, kindly speed up so that we have paucity of time. Kindly speed up.
Yeah, it's over, sir. Okay, fine, sir. Okay, so why it matters? It's not only the greenhouse gas emission reduction. It's also increases the soil fertility, and a farmer also get additional income than when you go for agroforestry projects. It involves in this, it also helps carbon sequestration, and also it aligns with our India's NDC targets. There are some financing models available, but I'm just going to skip this because these are the typical financing model: grant or debt or equity. There can be some blended finance where you can any grant and the private capital you can blend and invest in these projects. And there are some carbon-specific projects where you can sign there are some companies who are going to purchase the carbon credits. They upfront they invest, and with that investment we can develop the project. Sometimes they don't purchase they don't give the upfront investment. But they will just sign this offtake agreement or a commission agreement with, we can sign with some commission agent. But these agreements, we won't give an upfront investment, but with this we can get debt or equity easily because it's backed with an agreement. So this is one agroforestry project we are doing it. It's around 450 hectares in Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra. We are expecting the emission reduction, emission sequestration. Basically, first year it starts with 500 tons, and over the 10th year it up to 4,500 tons per year. There are where we have a farmer agreement. They have a particular percentage of revenue they get once the carbon credits are generated. Additionally, they get revenue out of the agroforestry plantations. So same thing, what we learned from this is the institutional support is required. We cannot, as a project owner, or simply cannot go and speak to the farmer and implement the project. You need the local support, particularly FPOs, NGOs who are working in the field. We need their support. So we have to go with some institutions, and additionally, the farmer get additional benefit because of the fuel from any agroforestry project. They get fuel, wood, fodder, and fruits. And so the initial support is required for anything, because initial up to many times the agroforestry projects, it takes at least 5 years to generate the revenue. Because the biomass has to grow. You cannot immediately after plantation, you cannot go for a verification after 1 year, 2 year, because biomass growth is very less. Maybe after 3-4 years it start growing, and maybe only after 4-5 years we can go for a verification and get the carbon credit. So initial support is required. And the technology solution is required because the monitoring is a bit difficult because of the scattered areas. So there are a lot of, we have to go on monitor on sample basis. So when we develop a remote sensing based monitoring, it will be easy for monitoring and certification. The way forward, this the policy recognition is required for the agriculture-based project, and maybe government should encourage to use the grant and CSR funds for this kind of projects. And as I said, the MRV tools are digital MRV tools are required, and strategic partnership is required, and transparent benefit sharing. This is very important because when we always sign agreement with the farmer. Farmer sometimes are not aware. They simply sign agreement and they're not aware what is their benefit, and sometimes later they come up with some issue. So whenever we go for a signing agreement, we have to transparently tell what is it, when they'll get the project, and how credits and how much revenue they get approximately. So everything we tell transparently, so that future we won't have any issue. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Narendra, for providing valuable information on carbon credit. When you were delivering lecture, we had a brief presence of Sri Ashwini Kumar, Principal Secretary, Energy and Petrochemical Division. His presence indicates the importance assigned to this seminar and these new trends of carbon emission reduction. Now I would like to invite Mr. Saurabh Yadav of BCG, Boston Consulting Group, and Mr. A.P. Mehta, Additional Vice President, Electrical Sikka Unit, GSFC, will give flower bouquet. Please.
Saurabh ji, quickly.
Sure, sir. Visible then, ठीक है. I need to present it. कोई नहीं, I think it's visible. Default drive. I will connect my laptop in that case.
नीचे नीचे
The one with just two arrows on both sides.
Thank you, GSFC, GNFC, and Vibrant Gujarat team for the opportunity. And I'd like to quickly start. So, when we are looking at the agriculture sector, we are going to have over 1.68 billion population by 2050. Agriculture sector already accounts for almost 14% of the GHG emissions, and climate change, as the source, is real, and it's already going to impact the agriculture productivity. So what it means for India and Gujarat is we have to increase our agriculture productivity. At the same time, climate change is going to be there, and we have to manage the carbon footprint from the agriculture sector. So the business as usual inputs which we are currently applying will not going to be sufficient. we need to transition to the inputs which are not only high performance but also low carbon. As such, moving to this green molecules, which can be low carbon bio-based and can be applied with precision technology, will not only reduce carbon footprint, but also help us to get plant and soils healthier. So we have a range of molecules to look at, starting from low carbon fertilizers, bio inputs such as biofertilizers, biostimulants or biopesticides, carbon-rich soil amendments such as biochar, compost, manures, enhanced rock weathering, as well as agri residues to crop inputs. For example, FOM, which is generated from biogas, can also be used for the soil amendment as a fertilizer, and conversion of agro-food waste into the bio inputs. If we look at these molecules and how carbon to crop pathways can integrate into them, so green urea can be produced from green hydrogen and ammonia, leveraging the renewable energy technology. Carbon dioxide mineralization can also be used for production of carbonated or mineral fertilizers. Methanol pathways using biohydrogen can be used for production of downstream green agrochemicals. Then CO2 can also be directed to algae production units, and we have also enhanced rock weathering and biochar. So the CO2 which is captured from the industrial processes can be used for multiple downstream agriculture products, as well as we can use EWR, enhanced rock weathering and biochar, for storage of CO2 at the farm level. So multiple C2C pathways exist which can help us to utilize CO2 store as well as convert into valuable agriculture inputs. Hence, carbon is not only a liability, now it presents an opportunity for conversion into an important agricultural assets which can be used as an input in the input by the farmers. And hence the crucial question is also to look at how do we want to integrate into the farmer's field. So we look at few of the phase one priority examples. For example, using low carbon fertilizers, we are able the PepsiCo and Fertibria were able to reduce GHG emission by 15%. Then crust basalt, which is basically ERW technology, and Takach's rice straw to biochar program have shown that there is a significant increase in the yield, but also on the revenues also. So for any green molecules to be integrated to farmers' field is to demonstrate a clear ROI, whether it can be increase in yield, increase in revenue, lower cost of production, or higher resilience during the stress conditions. In order to mainstream these molecules, we have to first pilot into farmers' field, proving that there are benefits, and actually monitor and measure them. We can then package them into crop-specific solutions for a larger farmers' adoption. And at the end, it has to be integrated into government and corporate value chains and national missions so that it can be scaled to large-scale pan-India programs, evidently impacting the entire Indian agriculture sector. So quickly, there are 5 key essential levers if we want to have carbon-positive industrial production and yield-positive farming. Infrastructure unlocks will remain crucial in order to unlock production and the supply chain. R&D and innovation in order to ensure that technology is introduced and adopted the last mile. Driving demand and supply through dedicated measures. Collaboration and ecosystem strengthening will be essential, along with financing instruments to ensure the production as well as consumption in the entire ecosystem. If we look at infrastructure, collaborative phase delivery models can help us to unlock this. Prepare and pilot first the solutions, scale and build, and then eventually we can build globally competitive infrastructure which can support even exports to other countries, our green molecules and the green products which we are producing. This can be start with like fertilizer decarb projects, initial biomass to green hydrogen or bio inputs project, eventually scaling into build like green hydrogen, green ammonia hubs, large scale renewable energy clusters with transmission infra. And for becoming global, we have to need to export. So we will have export terminals with bunkering facilities. We will have eventually solar, wind, electrolyzer manufacturing services so that the entire ecosystem is well placed to support the global value chains. And Gujarat, in that case, is already well positioned to harness and accelerate the green molecules as well as the carbon to crop pathways. It has large installed renewable energy capacity, already a large coastal advantage with desalination potential. We have strong port networks and flourishing, obviously, agriculture and industrial chemical sectors, and distinct industrial corridors where we can possibly look to implement the various infrastructure, link it to industries. So we have common clusters promoting the C2C pathways as well as the green molecules production. R&D becomes crucial because we want to promote the next gen technologies not only at the industrial side but also at the farm level. So dedicated programs can be launched for dedicated R&D programs, and for which can help startups, industry, as well as SME to enhance their capabilities. Centers of excellence can promote research, training, and product development as well as co-innovation. We can also look at international partnerships, which will not only facilitate best practices but also can unlock technology transfer as well as knowledge sharing. R&D hubs can help us to ideate on the further technologies which we want to innovate. For example, CCSU or CDR hubs, agriculture productivity hub, which how we can transfer these technologies to the farmers field. What is the clear use case for the farmers to adopt the certain molecules or the certain pathways in order to get higher yield, revenue, or even benefit from the let's say even if you want to carbon credits program, we want to implement these solutions. Driving demand and supply will remain crucial. So if you look at the demand side, green ammonia or green hydrogen pool procurement for the fertilizer companies, mandating a phased integration of green ammonia into urea for urea production. We can also integrate into public and government procurement strategies with the GHG link intensity criteria. It can also be promoted to integrate into corporate value chains where low carbon foods are having higher price premiums. Incentives can be also extended to other sectors, whether like energy, transport, or even to SMEs, so that they adopt the green molecules, the green hydrogen, the green ammonia early. In order to ensure the other aspect, which is the supply stability, we need to have single window facilitation for fast track approvals. We can facilitate long-term power purchase agreements as well as green hydrogen or ammonia offtake agreements, strengthening the energy corridors, building common shared infrastructure, and extending incentives to support green hydrogen or biomass projects, and streamlining the safety standards for the new molecules and the processes which are going to come with these new technologies. And ecosystem and collaboration. So when we look at for the new molecules or the new greener molecule which are coming, we need to have a proper set rules as well as streamline the safety requirements and have emergency response systems in place near the clusters or the production sites. As we move toward the agenda, we will require to have next gen of workforce who are able to handle the green production technologies. So maybe we can start with the green molecule skills roadmap, which can look into green ammonia, green hydrogen, urea, and chemicals. And industry and academic collaboration can be integrated so that the next generation of workforce comes trained into these technologies and can be easily integrated into the workforce pathways. Stakeholder alignment, which means ecosystem-led governance models can be integrated. There can be steering committee at the state level, which will comprise of the various state departments, investors, PSUs, private and tech companies. This will help us to formulate policies as well as the investment directions. And last but not least, MRV and performance tracking. So in order to enable whether how we have achieved, how much carbon emissions have actually reduced, whether the nutrition use efficiency has actually increased, and farm level emissions have gone down. So MRV and tracking platform will help us to stay real to what's happening, what we have achieved, and to further enable like carbon finance and green premium markets. Investments will be needed across 5 key pillars, whether it's infrastructure, R&D, working capital support for the entire value chain actors, skills, as well as supporting the farmers programs for the adoption of the last mile. The entire financing 5 pillars can be linked to the various types of financing structures which are available depending upon the suitability. Hence, we can think of creating a dedicated finance track which uses the traditional as well as the blended finance mechanism and links to specific projects based on the need and their viability, and that will be crucial. So I've tried to summarize it in very quickly, and I'd like to leave you with this 5 main pillars which I think can help to unlock the carbon positive industrial production and yield positive farming in order to enable the C2C pathways leadership. Thank you.
I invite all speakers. Thank you very much, Saurabh. Thank you very much for making convenient at last moment invitation. I know that all the speakers have made convenient to join this session at very last minute notice. I know specifically of Yadav sir, who has extremely hectic schedule and still he managed somehow. And I am really thankful to you. Before we start a question answer session, I would like to invite Mr. Tejas Shah, General Manager Marketing Industrial Products of GNFC, to hand over gift of EPD to GD Yadav sir. I would I would like to invite Mr. Vishwanath, General Manager Marketing, to give a gift to Mr. Harsh. I would like to invite Mr. Yakesh, AGM Marketing, GNFC, to hand over gift to Mr. Manan. I would like to invite Mr. Sunil, Chief Marketing, to give hand over gift to Mr. Narendra. And I would like to invite Mr. Desai, Manager Marketing, to hand over gift to Mr. Saurabh Yadav. Thank you. With permission of sir, can we start question and answer session? So please, anybody does have any question on that? Sir, let me start question from my side. Sir.
Hello.
Ah,
Are you able to hear me?
yes, sir. Sir,
Those who are, yeah,
no, please.
yeah. Those who are sitting here, I understand they are interested in asking questions, right? What is not covered in this that you should ask?
Sir, I start first question from my
Okay,
side.
okay.
Sir, sulfuric acid is a highly energy producing chemical. We can generate high pressure steam and then can expand across turbine and can produce power. And this is according to my understanding, it is a green power because sulfuric acid manufacturing doesn't involve any carbon emission. But still, Bureau of Energy Efficiency is not able to pursue Ministry of Power to consider it as a green power. And so no one is interested in having power generation except its economical value. If it is a green power, then it is having more value. So can you throw this light why it is not so?
Very good question. I will ask the officers. No, actually, what you say is absolutely correct because the sulfur dioxide to sulfur trioxide is highly energy producing,
Yes.
and that heat can be used to generate steam and then to run the turbines. So that is that electricity is literally green.
Yes.
But the problem of the chemical and allied industry is that everybody thinks they are polluting. So if the bureaucrats are thinking that way, I'm not surprised,
Okay.
right? But it is done in Europe. I tell you one park where is it in Norway or Sweden somewhere, where the entire park, the entire city is getting electricity generated by a sulfuric acid plant.
Oh, so nice.
Okay, it's
So
a
nice.
complete green industrial park.
So nice.
So yes, we should, I tell you something else also. United States government gave subsidy of $3 per kg of green hydrogen.
Okay, sir.
And that is 1-1-1 policy. 1 kg hydrogen, $1 in 1 decade. That is 2031. So Joe Biden did it. So I told our power ministry, why are we not giving subsidy to our end? My personal belief is that we should give 150 rupees. They said, no, we'll give 50 rupees, 40 rupees, 30 rupees. First year, second year, third year. So that way you cannot beat the Western world,
Yes, sir.
because the cost of green hydrogen realistically in today's world, it depends on the scale. I'm saying that if I produce 100 tons per day of green hydrogen by my
Yes, sir.
thermochemical process, I can produce it in about $1. Okay, that is production, not transport or storage. Uh, that means the cost of hydrogen is not less than $5 per kg, not less than $5 per kg.
Yes, sir.
So the policy matters. Everybody else, at least 3 speakers said policy matters.
Yes, sir.
I was saying in the beginning, if
Yes,
a
sir.
government policy is right, we can adopt this technology.
Yes, sir.
So sulfuric acid should be a part of green energy.
So, sir, I request you to apply your influence to government,
I wish
because
No,
they will listen. Sorry, I'm sorry. They will listen to you.
No, but right now I'm chairing this hydrocarbon committee of petroleum ministry. There are many all these PSU, oil PSUs are members of that committee. So I will discuss with them.
Thank you,
Because sulfuric acid, or for that ammonia is a power consumption per unit ton is going down. The efficiency is increasing day by day.
Yes, sir.
Right, and now he said, you said about what, 3 tons per day or 5 tons per day, green ammonia?
Green, 5 ton was commissioned yesterday.
Okay. See what, Germany, and we have this, task force. I'm a member of that, and so is America.
Yes, sir.
Germany says you produce green hydrogen, they want 10 million metric tons.
Yes, sir. Oh.
Our target is only 5 million metric tons. And we are saying that we may not be able to do it maybe 2032 instead of 2030. So there, for example, green ammonia, Germany is the leader and the Nordic countries. And this ammonia infrastructure is available. So only thing is you have to split ammonia at the site of application,
Yes, sir.
and then hydrogen. If you burn ammonia directly, then NOx will be generated. So split, so catalytic technology.
Yes, sir.
But that nitrogen has to be recycled. Nitrogen cannot be let go into the atmosphere. Then it is not a good idea, because anyway we want to separate either cryogenically or pressure swing absorption
Yes, sir.
nitrogen from air using green energy again. Then only it is green. Otherwise it is no green. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So yeah, green ammonia will have a better future because that infrastructure exists. Only thing is you use green energy.
Yes, sir.
For example, shipping industry produces 5% of the carbon dioxide. Okay, but we normally don't talk about shipping industry. We talk about other truckwala, this and all those guys. But that is another important thing. So
Yes, sir.
policy matters 100%.
Yes, sir.
Okay, policy matters. So I think, all others gave the perspective, good presentations by everybody, their perspective,
Yes, sir.
what should be done. But yes,
So,
you thought of a good topic,
Yes, thank you.
good topic.
one more point from my side, sir. Since you mentioned that infrastructure is already there, if we see, we already have many ammonia plants. If government allows these ammonia plants to consume green hydrogen, some part will be should be called as a green ammonia itself. So this will allow the ammonia manufacturers to increase their capacity.
Can I suggest? Write to me. My email ID is very simple, gdyadav@gmail.com. Send me your suggestions. Because I have a meeting in first week of February. Let me see what can be done.
Yes, sir.
Because I think without chemical industry, nothing is going to happen. We may talk all big things, whether it is steel industry, any other industry, pharma. Chemical industry is a very important part.
True, sir.
But the image of chemical industry is a polluting industry.
Yes, sir.
Right? Why that sulfuric acid? I think that Babu thinks it is polluting. Because he thinks sulfuric acid is corrosive, that means must be polluting. Right? That mindset has to be changed.
Yes, sir. Sir, the consultant company.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Mr. Das.
Yes, sir.
Yadav sir has spoke about CO2 as a building block, methanol as a building. very simple thing sir has shown is CO2 to DME, CO2 to methanol. Methanol is going to be future fuel building fuel and feedstock. Where do the world-class technology licensing companies stand? Have they developed the
Yes, we have e-methanol technology using green hydrogen and CO2. We already have that.
DME?
No, DME we don't have, but green methanol, e-methanol we have.
Because in India context, we have to develop the technology.
Eh, eh,
The feedstock price will continue to go up. आपने बोला सर
It's already,
$200.
Yeah.
it's
Well,
already,
it will happen. Because I tell you, there are two reasons. One is now, let us look at geopolitics. No? All this energy politics is geopolitics. Right? When we thought our energy, now our energy prices will stabilize, our rupee will stabilize, all of a sudden one person comes in the West and he says, okay, I will put 500% type on you. Right? The Japanese Prime Minister said, oh, I will nominate you for Nobel. Okay, your tariff is down to 10%. What is the meaning of that? It is whimsical thing, right? It has nothing to do with the world economics or anything. So we have to safeguard our interests. The only way we can do it is renewable energy. See, government also, acquisition of land is a very big issue in India. You don't get land so easily. And there are political parties, opposition leaders who will try to squeeze the government. The prices may go to the sky. So best strategy is that you have railway track. We have the longest land railway holds. So why not have solar panels on railway tracks where you don't require anybody's permission? That is the first and easiest thing to do. Of course, then the floating panels and whatnot, you can do that as well. But this is, and secondly, combo of solar and wind, hybrid, because wind can give about 15-16%. The remaining is given by solar, so you don't require much land and all. But you can do that. That is another way. And remember, in Netherlands, the renewable energy cost is negative now. It is negative. So you can imagine what will see when you just started Gujarat, 18 rupees a unit, right? Now it is less than 2. So I think policy matters. Policy matters, and the planners, the members of the committee, some of them are, chai and coffee members. They don't add anything to the discussion, but there are others who really vociferously champion the cause and say that this should be done. I'm very glad GSFC and GNFC, you have come together and shown a way. This is required. So Vibrant Gujarat's success is because of you guys. I give them a big hand.
It is because of also your presence.
No. Because he was requesting me. His uncle was our student. I said, okay, I'll come. I had great difficulty. I was in Kolhapur. I had no flight, so I went to Belgaum to Hyderabad. Hyderabad, the flight did not land in time. 4 hours delay. I landed at 2:30 in the morning. I went home, did not shave also, just changed the dress, took bath and went to the airport again to come to... No, I went to Ahmedabad because I was the chief guest for the convocation of Naipar. So I slept while traveling from Ahmedabad to Rajkot last night. But I had given a promise.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
No, but I like it. What you have done wonderful. This is very important. Gujarat can set a tone. You see, if you want to become $30 trillion economy, some states have to be at least more than $2 trillion, right? Otherwise, how can it be? 4 or 5 states we can understand. They must have 50% of this total. Then only it is possible, not otherwise. So again, it is policy. You agree with me? Policy matters. Yeah. You don't ask me, ask others.
So again, what Mr. Uttak has given sulfuric acid example, same example with a chloralkali.
but still that hydrogen is not certified as green hydrogen. So that is also.
You know, I know this, but why don't you write, give me suggestions? I'm a chairman of the energy policy, so I can definitely include some of these things. Whether the government accepts or not, their problem.
Yeah.
But at least we have
We have to put
flag the
proposal to
problem.
them.
We have to do that. Anybody having brilliant idea, send it to me. I should not claim that only I know. Huh? I'm sorry to say that, but that's the fact. Anybody else? You are also from GSFC? GNFC. Yeah. So problems are coming from you too only.
No, actually they are giving the solutions also.
Yeah. Now one thing he has not said. You know, you said carbon credit. 1 ton CO2 is 1 credit. 1 methane is 28 credits. But how much is the carbon credit in terms of dollars in Europe, in America, and in India? That you are not said. You kept it secret, huh?
No, sir. That actually it's a voluntary market. It varies. Now, voluntary market it's all voluntary. We cannot compare with the compliance market.
No. How much typically is it $60? 60
No,
euro?
sir. In India, voluntary market is now agriculture and forestry credit specifically around $15 to $20.
$20.
That is highest I would say compared to other technology projects. Wind and solar credits now it's less than 50 cents now. So some 2.5 years back it was $7-8. Suddenly it crashed because it's all voluntary and nobody can do anything.
They buy the credit in Europe.
Yeah, mostly in Europe.
So somebody told me 50-60 euro per ton. Yeah,
No,
50-60, yeah.
No. Never in voluntary market it went $90. But compliance, in India, we are not into compliance. In CDM time, we were supplying in the compliance. That time, even my maximum, it went to $25 in that range.
So
only.
that's the issue, sir. So, I mean, you talked about sulfuric acid and sir talked about it, right? I mean, if you see the definition of carbon credit, now it's getting so stringent because a project which is money making and generating carbon credit on top of it might no longer be considered a credit, right? So now that's where this dilemma of policy, and by the way, this is a policy that we can't govern as India because this is a global carbon policy, which of course we are debating. But if you have a project like sulfuric acid or even renewable to an extent,
still so much our energy comes from fossil fuel, but still now almost the renewable energy lost its credibility in the market.
No value for it.
No value for it. And when VCS and gold standards they stopped accepting renewable energy projects, particularly from
profit making.
Yeah.
No, and a storage battery also, no. That is another interesting area. Because we have to store this energy. I tell you what is happening in India. We may say we will have, 1 crore households. That is 10 million households having solar panels, right? But we don't have the grid capacity. That is a big issue because many industries are having these solar panels, but they are allowed to put it in the grid only during some time, or they are not given credit at all. So Maharashtra went to collaborate. Some industrialists made me said, sir, we are producing so much of green, but we are not getting credit. No, they are not getting credit because they only certain period of the day you can put it in the grid. But that means we don't have grid capacity. So why not start with grid capacity first?
Moreover, sir, there is a complexity. So grid is controlled by state, incentives are given by center. And if your project is in certain state and your renewable farm in a different state, bringing electricity from that grid to this grid is a nightmare. And you get stuck. You don't get credit.
I tell you, my solution is this. We can have a universal grid where like United Nations participate, 1100 voltage, okay, 1100. Then sun is always shining somewhere. So you get that and the entire world population will benefit by that. Isn't it? So whether poor countries, rich countries, everybody will benefit by if you have a universal grid. Unfortunately, we are not ready to agree. We are imposing tariffs, 500% tariffs and whatnot. So how do you get that? So
True, sir.
The global leadership, that should be done by United Nations. Yeah, anybody else? Is there a cup of tea afterwards?
Yes.
I have a question for Manan.
Yeah, you ask these people, they are the experts actually.
You said कि India is ready for India's target for net zero is 2070, and you said it is okay as per you. So how do you see the renewable energy replacing the conventional fuel like diesel and petrol, and what are the obstacles in it?
Kapadiaji, introduce yourself.
I am Deepak Kapadia from Indian Oil.
Arey, you have 46, right?
2040 scope 1, scope 2.
You said 46 earlier.
46, yes.
Yeah, 40, not 47, 46.
That's only scope 1, scope 2. That's only scope 1, scope 2. That's
Not
not scope
scope
3.
three.
And that's the reason. That gives you the answer why. Because if Indian Oil is not putting a target on scope 3, which is selling of products, selling of fuel, because, yeah, so not just transportation, because that's your business.
That is, I am talking about whole India, not as a India.
No, so exactly, but the question that you're asking also lies the answer there, because if we do a model and so on, yes, we might hit, though I do target, being the realist in this room, I do think that 500 gigawatt also is on the verge of being a slippage. Not because economics don't make sense, but execution capabilities are lagging. But nonetheless, even if we hit that, India will still need additional oil for the next 15-20 years, right? That's a given. You are not participating, but the two new refineries which are coming up right now, Andhra Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, is a testimony to that, because even in this time and age, we have to still invest in oil because we need it. So now if you're putting money behind something where we need, the need of the hour is oil, then it will take its own time for it to come back, right? So we think India's peak oil is going to come post 2035, 2040 only. Until then, what do we do? Because we still need energy today. So which is why the equation of 2050 doesn't apply to us, and which is why Indian Oil and BPCL and HPCL and other refiners will continue to emit, but more importantly, support energy security. That's the need of the hour right now. That lies the question.
But the other sir, I think they said कि after 2025 or 30, 40, you said कि oil will either become very costly.
Yeah.
50,
No,
59.
yeah, I'll tell you. No. What I'm saying, because this is demand and supply, right? Supposing crude oil becomes very expensive, which is unaffordable, people have to go to option that is bio refinery and whatnot. So either that means either future, we can use predictive. That crude oil is become very expensive because you cannot afford it. Therefore, and your optional technology, alternate technologies are affordable. That is the reason. So crude oil may be there. Right now also there is 7 trillion barrels of heavy oil lying. Venezuela produces something like 19% of the world's oil. Right? Why Donald Trump went there? Because he wants to control that 19%. Then come Saudi and all other countries. But Venezuela has the maximum crude oil actually, right? So carbon emissions will be there. So somebody has to take care of the carbon. When Indian Oil says 2046, what is the meaning of that? When whatever fuel you sell, whatever carbon dioxide comes, you will have technology to capture it and to make it carbon neutral. Where that scope 3 you are not talking, because scope 3 means some other people have to do it.
Yes, scope
And
3
yeah,
buyer,
yeah.
I need to do it.
Yeah.
About what you consume as a producer, right?
Yeah.
So that is different.
And very interestingly, Reliance says 2035. Reliance says 2035. GAIL is also saying something like 2040. GAIL is saying 2040. Yeah. So everybody has different target.
But Reliance is now a conglomerate. They have very little share of oil and gas. They have so many.
No. But there 2035 is for the oil and gas.
Oil there, yeah. That's what.
But just one different point I want to make. We don't see a situation, sir, with humble respect. We don't see a situation oil touching 200, right? Because peak oil is already reached globally. But in a situation when oil increases, like sir is saying, that transition exceeds, right? It goes so fast. For example, when oil had touched right after COVID, 80s, 90s, and there was a brief period, the whole was 90 plus, right? The whole world was talking about sustainability. It's not rocket science. It's not that suddenly you wake up and say now sustainability is a big thing. But at $90, a lot of countries cannot afford to have oil. So they will want to transition themselves to greener. So Japan, for example, which is one of the biggest buyer of green ammonia today, it is not because they are thinking, of course they are, but it's not like they believe that they are the greenest in the world, because for them gas is much more expensive. So they are saying very easily we can move to green ammonia. For us, it's a little bit of a murky story, right? And that's where everyone is doing a calibrated pathway. I hope that.
One more other side is that when crude oil is costlier, many more explorers get into that business because it becomes profitable for them.
But that's a longer game, because see, the exploration cycle doesn't go with the price cycle.
Thank you.
Yeah, also new oil gas fields will be explored. Okay, they say we will have coal for next 200 years. Gas maybe another 100 years. But one day we'll have to go, we maybe fusion or whatever. Even for fusion you require hydrogen. That means again water, right? So these are calculations of the future. But you see, believe me, technology advances beyond imagination, right? When a mobile phone was introduced, what was the cost and what is the cost today of the mobile phone? Smartphone. Nokia did not adapt and they went out of business. So yes, people will adapt to new technologies and incentive is required because that technology has to be absorbed. Only the economy of scale, engineering principles will show that technology requires that policy. Your own guys, I'm telling you, Indian Oil wanted to make DME in 1995. But there was a bureaucrat sitting in petroleum ministry. He said, this is useless. Correct. There was no policy on DME.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was like attending another seminar out there that was green startup. So there I got to know a term called celestial fuel. So I don't know where the seminar knows about something like that, celestial fuels. And the question was like this, can low carbon hydrogen from celestial fuels strengthens India's carbon to crops fertilizer value chain? Does the panel know about what is celestial fuel?
Well, hold on, just give me 2 minutes. I just chat GPT it.
Okay.
It is talking about nuclear fusion fuels.
No, it's not that. So let me just.
You also asked ChatGPT.
Yeah.
No. No, I just got to know the meaning. So celestial fuel is a.
Fusion.
No, it's fuel. Celestial fuel.
Fuel with fusion only you get energy.
Yeah. So it's a hydrogen value. Carbon co-product using advanced plasma pyrolysis technology. It is this. Yeah.
That is so called. That is called. Turquoise hydrogen.
Yes.
Turquoise hydrogen is what you take methane.
Yeah.
And you pyrolyze it.
Yeah.
At a high temperature, typically 600 to 800 degrees C, you produce carbon and hydrogen.
Yeah.
1 carbon and 2 hydrogen moles. That is also supposed to be cheaper than. So that is also green, because there is no CO2 coming out.
Yes.
If you look at the steam methane reforming of natural gas, which refineries are using nowadays, because they need hydrogen for 8 processes. 1 ton typically hydrogen there produces 11 tons of carbon dioxide. So refineries are not eco-friendly. They are highly polluting.
Okay.
But if we capture 90% of that carbon dioxide, it becomes blue hydrogen.
Yeah.
So there you can sequester, utilize, store. And for example, we cannot, in India, we don't have too many oil wells to store. So you have to convert that carbon dioxide. That is where I talked about the net negative thing. So carbon dioxide becomes a source of chemicals. I will not use it as a fuel again, but make chemicals.
So I think it's a very good solution to the current scenario happening. So that's what I wanted to ask. Do you see any future
expert
or any
from industry.
potential in this very stream?
You take this.
But the problem with this turquoise hydrogen is we are not producing carbon dioxide, but we are producing solid carbon.
Yeah.
So how to use that solid carbon?
Okay.
Ultimately, somehow it will again come into atmosphere with CO2.
Yeah.
So that is the problem, how to utilize that carbon. That is why it is still not very
Convenient to
convenient
the
to- yeah.
market. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
No, I tell you interesting part.
Okay.
I will tell you the date rather. 30th October 2023, CNN reported white hydrogen. Okay, that is naturally occurring hydrogen. That is also pyrolysis, under high temperature. I'm just telling you. And they predict somewhere between 5 million metric tons to 350 million metric tons naturally occurring white hydrogen. Now, some place like Texas, they don't call it white, they say gold hydrogen. So you can have 7, 8 different types of hydrogens. Pink hydrogen means you use nuclear energy, renewable energy.
Okay.
Now, unfortunately, nuclear energy is a safe energy.
Yeah.
But general public will use nuclear energy means catastrophic.
Yes.
That is a problem. So yes, look, listen, I'll tell you, I'm deadly optimistic person. I believe within next 5 years, we'll have so many technologies developed by others. One single technology is not going to solve our problem across the world. Whether it is India, depends where you are producing it, right? We may produce something, hydrogen, for example. Then how do you store it? Cryogenically in the liquid form, or gas under pressure, or what do you? So we have these cylinders, type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, type 5, 6, right? Containers. So that also requires energy. So almost 50% of that energy is wasted in that. Transportation. So when they talk about this cost of hydrogen, it is the production cost, not other transportation, storage. That is additional cost. Okay, so yeah, energy is a complex business.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
GSFC, but I'm from university.
Which university?
GSFC University.
Sir, we do have our own university.
Why, you are not happy with others or what? Where is the university?
Basic idea was that same, to produce engineers befitting to our industrial requirement.
Okay. You are only chemical engineering or all the others are there?
No, chemical and mechanical was there. It was now not there. Mechanical environment is there.
So, but sir, I'm from management, so.
You are from management, but
Yes.
you should know all this business.
Yes, sir.
no?
Yeah, I'm.
How will you manage?
Yes, sir. It is my privilege that I'm from GSFC. I am already aware about so many things happening there, and they are very free for us to explore and all stuff.
So
Okay.
before we done, I just want to make one point.
Yes.
I think it's a good forum that I think there is Indian Oil, there is chemical players, right? I think one of the key, and I will definitely write to you as and we'll talk about it. But this concept where there is Indian Oil in refinery is going to produce very rich, pure carbon through SMR. There is fertilizers who might need carbon in the future if they will move to green hydrogen, because for urea you will still need pure carbon. Cement companies will have a role to play again because they might become a co-user of carbon, right? Gujarat, and I'm sure there are more clusters, have this unique setup within a 100 kilometer radius. You will be actually able to find this ecosystem, right? And I've done this for Indian Oil, I've done this for BPC, I'm now doing for others. There is a lack of common talk point, right? And as maybe the industry, it is our duty to figure out a way where can we bring them together on a platform, not for talking of course, but more importantly, can that become a reality? Because where else will this become a reality? So that's one humble request. Of course, I'll write to you, but see if we can do it.
No, I tell you. See, survival of India will depend on how we produce our energy, how do we produce materials, and so whether it is 8 so-called oil PSUs or others, right? They have to collaborate. Even otherwise, they have some stakes in other companies also, right? Like you have in ONGC as in, yeah, and you have the West Coast refinery also, so-called, yeah, yeah. So Ratnagiri.
Not coming.
No, no, but this is the problem. No, we might think great thing, but sometimes political parties destroy our dream. You agree with me? So, but anyway, this was a very good discussion. Those who participated have definitely enjoyed it. Correct? And there was no difficult terminologies used. Okay? But at the same time, everybody gave a perspective which was very good. They are all educated and well, erudite speaker, I would say, who spoke. And so at the same time, I must thank Utkarsh.
Thank you, sir.
For organizing this and calling me at the 11th hour.
I'm sorry, sir.
Thank you, Utkarsh.
On behalf of EPD and Government of Gujarat, who has organized this regional conference, and we are here, and on behalf of GNFC and GSFC, I thank Professor Yadav and all four analysts for sparing their valuable time, honoring our request, and making the discussion lively. Thank you all.
Thank you.